I can guarantee you it's going to be a very, very interesting morning on the show, freshly pressed here on the Smooth Breakfast. This is Smooth 98.1. We love music and we love life. This is that time to bring you the stories in the papers, the big ones making the headlines, having each and every single one of us talking, wondering what's going on, shaking our heads, holding hands, and just trying to chart the way forward. Welcome into a Friday installment of the show, final one for the week. It's great to be here with you once again. My name is Ayokunmi. And join us on WhatsApp, join us on YouTube, be a part of the show. Let's hear those voices, even though they're via messages, but still they are your voices. And we always love to hear from you. So please do that on WhatsApp. The number is 0911 999 0981 0911 999 0981. YouTube is there for you as well. If you'd love to jump on the live stream, please do that as well. Smooth 981 FM Lagos, Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Leave your comments in the chat section there. I'll take them with the WhatsApp messages, believe me when I say that. Every single message means the absolute world to us. And by us, I don't mean myself alone. Of course, us means more than one person. I'm being joined by my analyst this morning. It is a full house as per Friday. You know now. That's how it is. AB Bozimo and of course Joseph Obari are with us this morning. Very good morning to you, AB. Great to have you in the show once again.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Joseph, and good morning to all the wonderful listeners out there. I've been following the stories all this week. You've been having a great show, Ayo.
Thank you so much. And of course, a legal luminary joining us as well. Joseph Obari in the building. Joseph, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, AB. Good morning, listeners. It's good to be here again.
It's great to have you here again. And I'm actually happy that Joseph is here because he can give us some legal perspective into some of the stories we'll be touching on. I know he's laughing. He already knows what story I'm talking about specifically, but we'll get there eventually. Let us start at the beginning, as Fela said. Let us start what we have come to do. For those who know the song, I had to edit it a little bit to fit the context of this morning. All right, Ibi, let us start with what is going on, the drama going on with NUPENG, with Dangote. The Punch newspaper is where the story comes from, where it says the fragile truce between the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers and the Dangote Petroleum Refinery has collapsed, igniting a fierce industrial dispute that threatens fuel supply stability and also tests the federal government's ability to enforce labor agreements. Now, the confrontation follows allegations by NUPENG that the Dangote Group reneged on a memorandum of understanding signed earlier just this week, under which the refinery agreed to allow tanker drivers and other workers to freely unionize. Alas, it seems like that is not the case anymore. And it is yam pepe scatter scatter, as they say on the streets. AB, what's going on?
Well, this story, I had to read it more than once to really try to get to the core. I've been following it on the periphery, but today, fortunately, it's thrown in my lap. And so I said, okay, let me take a closer look. From what we see right now, the potential exists for Nigerians as a whole to suffer from a fuel shortage, not because there's a new war, not because our oil production has suddenly gone down, not because, I don't know what other, not because of COVID, but because a certain union has a grouse with a certain private company. Now, let me just give some parts of it that reminded me of erstwhile Bollywood movies. These are some of the characters. You have a flying helicopter threatening to crush people according to them. You have people blocking the gate into a refinery, a private premises. You have people saying, oh, people are not being allowed to unionize. I don't know whether they show it on the forehead. If people have said you can unionize, oh yeah, start work. How does NUPENG know that they are preventing people from unionizing? Maybe people go in, try to unionize, and I really don't know. That's something, how do you prove a negative? But the key thing here is that NUPENG are ready to shut the country down. Once again, it happened for a day, they're ready to do it again over something that concerns them. And they're talking about trying to protect the livelihood of their members. Let me ask you, if there is a tanker driver who is not tanking driving, who is not driving, is his livelihood being positively affected or not? Going on strike to stop your own member from earning his living looks to me like one of the ways to prevent that person from having a good livelihood. And then you are saying all sorts of things, allegations thus far, because this is based on an allegation. I don't think it's proven yet. Ordinarily, if you have an allegation, you should prove it. So you want to shut the country's fuel supply down because you want to have the right. They said that the people on the other side say they even have offices inside their refinery for people to sign up. So
Right.
I really don't know. I think sometimes unionists should understand that people tend to act in what they perceive as their enlightened self-interest. If there's a company I work for where a particular color of shirt I wear is not favored, I by myself, or is not in vogue, I by myself may stop wearing that color of shirt. It is the reason why today people wear this infinity cap, because Tinubu is in office. They tend to want to wear the cap and identify with the president. So you are saying people are not being allowed to unionize. How do you have that proof? If the people choose not to unionize, is that a reason to shut the whole country down? That for me is the problem. And then let us look at one of the cast of characters. NUPENG has had one leader since 2018. They talk about impunity. They talk about Dangote's impunity. Is it normal for a union to have one Akboreha to be their leader since 2018? That is currently 7 years. He is the only leader. Might we be looking at somebody who's getting a bit drunk off their own supply and so believes that he can just move, snap a finger, and the whole country should shut down? I think there is something at the core of this that is not being told, because this story I hear is completely farcical. Somebody is ordering 4,000 trucks. That man cannot drive 4,000 trucks by himself. There will be at least 4,000 people driving them,
Exactly.
4,000 motorboys, and according to numbers, over 60,000 indirect jobs created by that. People who wash them, people who change tires, people who maintain them, and so on. So I just find in this instance, NUPENG's position to be utterly and absolutely riotously fake. They should stop holding the country ransom and get to understand why, or if their own people do not want to unionize, make your union attractive to them. Maybe things like healthcare. There are some things that unions can bring. I'm not against a union, but there are some things that a union would do that would make you as an individual say, you know what, my interests are well served or better served being part of it. And I don't think one of the things is the ability to go and shut down a private entity. They are saying that Dangote was coming to come and, or somebody was coming to come and tow their trucks that they had used to barricade the entrance to the refinery. That for me is behaving like a hoodlum. So if NUPENG members are doing that, barricading the entrance to a refinery, then they are behaving like hoodlums. And whatever hoodlums have coming to them is what NUPENG members deserve. I'm sorry. I just do not feel that that giving me as a Nigerian who wants to get fuel, putting me into trouble because you want to ensure that you have checkout dues is not a good enough reason to shut down petrol supply in Nigeria.
Yeah, so it's very sad that this is happening, because I consider it's a deliberate attempt to sabotage the Dangote refinery by some interests. Otherwise, you cannot say that a company agrees that its workers can unionize, and then you now determine how that is done and block their gate until they have gotten 4,000 names on the register. And then you say you now pin your stickers on a vehicle owned by somebody else. And when they strip it off, when they remove it, you get angry. Did you buy the truck? You didn't buy the truck. So you have no right to go and put a NUPENG sticker on it. It's not a NUPENG vehicle.
Right.
Yeah, it's not done. So what we find sometimes in unionism is this ego tripping. People just serving their own ego, showing how important they are. You can shut down the country. The same thing Ajero does. You just any at the whims, I can shut down the country. So you feel important. But this is going beyond reasonable. So if there was a violation of the MOU as they claim, is to go back to the Ministry of Labor, the Minister of Labor who coordinated the agreement, and complain to him and say, this is what we have observed, A, B, C, D. And then the minister can call Dangote and say, look, this thing is is it true?
And that is interesting because the Ministry of Labor have said they haven't received a formal complaint yet.
Yeah. So it's totally out of place. This action is totally out of place, and it shouldn't be. It's not something we should just see and keep quiet. These union, NUPENG in particular, just like Abi has said, their method is so pedestrian, so they behave more like touts, and all that. So it's not right. I remember when I was working in my organization, because of our role as spokesperson, I'm a spokesperson, and proximity to management in terms of because when there is a union, when there is the industrial disputes, you are going to say what the company says, your opinion to the people. So we were not allowed to unionize by the virtue of our work. So even if I could join Pengasin, I couldn't join Pengasin because my work determined that I should not join Pengasin, even though it was voluntary. So you understand that because a conflict of interest will arise if I have to issue a statement stating the position of the company when the union is issuing another statement, and I'm a member of it. So there are certain things you must respect within an organization. They have their own way of doing their thing, so you must respect that. But even if there was a violation, the proper thing to do was to go back to the person who mediated and lay your complaint formally, and not to you are barricaded the place. They want to remove the trucks, and you say no, you can't remove the trucks, and there is what word was used? They said they are acting with impunity. What is impunity there? It is you who is acting with impunity if you go to block a private business.
So many things are happening. Where do you stand on this matter? What do you think is the way out of the situation right here? 0911-999-0981. That is the WhatsApp number. All right, Joseph, let's go from one state of confusion to another. We're stepping into the Daily Trust here, and we're talking about this impasse between the senator representing Kogi Central Senatorial District in the person of Natasha Akpoti-Gwaha and the Senate. Now, she has issued a demand for her immediate reinstatement to the Senate. She therefore gave the clerk of the National Assembly, Dr. Yahya Danzaria, a 4-day ultimatum to facilitate her resumption at the Senate or face contempt proceedings and disciplinary sanctions. Nigeria feels like it is one episode of a soap opera after the other each and every single day. This particular issue has been on for months, and here we are again after the expiration of said suspension. Now talks have been put out that she cannot resume yet, and she said 4 days is the ultimatum I'm giving you. I need to come back to work. What exactly is this merry-go-round going on?
Well, it's most unfortunate that the Senate is behaving in this manner. And this time around, I think the majority in fact, almost all Nigerians believe that the action of the Senate is, they are overreaching their position, and they've always acted with so much disregard to the Constitution, because what the Senate has done is total disrespect for it. Yeah, the Senate is supposed to have independence, but it must work within the parameter of the Constitution. If we look at Section 1 of the Constitution, it says supremacy of the Constitution, talks about the supremacy of the Constitution, and says anything that clashes with the Constitution is null and void. All right, and then so Section 113 says that. The other one is just this. The 111 announces declares the supremacy of the Constitution, and then 113 says that any law that is inconsistent or any act that is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution, null and void. Now,
Yeah.
Section 13 of the Constitution, the same Constitution, says that every organs of government must operate within the ambit of the Constitution. So it is very strange for the Senate, which has been given powers to make its rule, to make rules that that violate the Constitution, and then say, "Oh, it's because we are independent. We can do anything we like. We cannot be summoned by the court. We cannot do this." You know. Then also Section 60 specifically relates to the regulation of the procedure of the National Assembly, and it says that if I can quote that, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, Senate or the House of Representatives shall have power to regulate its own procedure, including the procedure for summoning and recess of the House. So it means that, okay, you can make rules governing your activity, but it must conform with the Constitution. And the same Constitution specifies representation for for senators who are elected by their people. So you cannot violate that provision of the Constitution with impunity. So we see a case of high-handedness being displayed in this matter, because when they say, "Oh, there's a matter in court," the matter in court has nothing to do with whether she can resume or not. There were issues that just arose out of the dispute that the senator is contesting and has gone on appeal on, and they have nothing to do with her reinstatement. So to cite that as reason why you will not act is something completely wrong. Now, having said that, I'm a mediator. I'm an arbitrator and mediator. But I always look at the other side. I think that much of all this trouble would have been abated if the senator took a conciliatory approach and tried to see how she can meet them halfway. And then that's because these people who are showing this ego, they just want the ego massage. Yeah, if you choose to use the legal process, this can stretch out. Both sides can stretch it for as long as possible and simply frustrate you. So what should you do in that circumstance? If you can't litigating, you're out of the Senate. They'll not represent your people. So if I were in her position, I'm a lawyer, yes. I know what the law says, yes. But can you meet the people at some point and then talk to them and then see whether you can trade something? And that's
compromise.
I'm talking like a mediator here. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's to resolve a dispute, because this is an apparent dispute, but egos are strong. And that is the barrier to the whole resolution.
Egos are strong, and up until now, since the 6th of March, we're still on this particular matter. No resolution has been found. And you just wonder what the people of Kogi Central Senatorial District must be thinking, because, I mean, throughout that period, they haven't had any representation whatsoever. How long is this going to continue? Will there be an end to this saga at any point in time? Your guess is as good as mine on that one. All right, Eddie, let me come back to you right now, and let's talk about matters that have to do with security. This one is going to be interesting. It's coming out of the Vanguard, where the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has said the Nigeria Police Force cannot completely stop the deployment of officers to protect very important personalities, the VIPs, and private individuals, stressing that some categories of people must be secured. And I'll take a quick quote here. He says, and I quote, "We cannot do away entirely with protecting our VIPs. These are employers of labor, owners of industries who pay thousands of workers and top government functionaries. The ones we are withdrawing officers from are those who use deception to get our men." End of quote. AB, shouldn't each and every single Nigerian be treated as a very important person? We don't have enough officers to look after the needs of the people. And the IG of police is saying that, oh, they cannot withdraw officers from some of these people because X, Y, Z. Shouldn't these people look at figuring out their own security, bearing in mind the issues we have right now in terms of securing our borders and securing the country?
In fact, to me, the IG of police has actually controverted himself. If a person, we'll go into the definition of a very important person. You know, I am important to me and a few loved ones. We are all important to someone. Now, he's describing the people like employers of labor. Presumably, they have a certain measure of wealth. Therefore, they can and should be able to afford personal private security. I'll give that, you know, you can have some top government officials, you know, president, vice president, there are certain top government officials. The rest of us should see ourselves as being in joint need of safety and security. The police should be available to all of us literally equally. I mean, I know some people will have more access to them than I do, and I may have more access to some than others, but to a large extent, a policeman should see me as his concern, whether I'm a so-called VIP or not. Then now to the issue of very important. In any society, some VIPs are associated with being elites. Elites normally move a society forward. Unfortunately, I've said this many times, Nigeria's elites thus far are our sole natural disaster. We don't have typhoons here. We don't have hurricanes. We don't have earthquakes. We just have a set of so-called elites who do little or nothing to move their own society forward, instead banking all their hopes, thoughts, and dreams in foreign countries like France, Brazil, Japan, etc. So when you are saying, as the IG of police, that you must keep people, and then you're even admitting that some form of deception was used to get your men, are you not indicting yourself? How can you be in charge of an organization where you can be deceived for men to be deployed? What are you doing at the top? How come you don't have systems in place to ensure that only genuine deployments are done? And then he goes on to talk about how the borders are weak and all that. Oga, you are in charge of internal security as police. Leave the border. I know the border people came to visit him or vice versa, but the issue is border patrol and external security is the soldiers. So make sure, and I'm happy that at the end of the so you talked about how you must make sure that you use modern technology and methods like systems, drones, scanners, and data analysis, as well as making sure that your police are properly equipped, properly housed, properly taken care of with insurance. So at the end of the day, through a merry-go-round, he finally got to what matters for him as an IG of police, the policemen under his command, and he should please get out there and stop the policemen I saw between Owerri and Port Harcourt, where every 150 meters, I'm not exaggerating, 150 meters, there were checkpoints at a stretch. There were about 6 or 7 checkpoints back to back. It's not where you would drive over a hump and see, as you are here, you are seeing the next checkpoint right in front of you. 150 meters. It took Ben Johnson less than 9 seconds to run 100 meters. So think of what 150 meters look like. That is the distance between checkpoints. Mr. IG, your policemen in some instances are behaving like predators, rogues, and criminals. That should be your priority, and not telling me that you cannot stop protecting people. Let those who are employing thousands of people employ private security and give us our police back that yes, they pay more tax, but we too are taxed in our little ways. We all, and we'll hear it very well on January 1st from next year. But for now, let us all have access to our police, please. Mr. IG, thank you so much.
Let me just add a bit to this, because what the IG has simply said is that they are not prioritizing national security in terms of what benefits the people.
Simple.
And it is contradictory to what we discussed the other day about the Minister of Interior talking about private firms that are going to come in to do private close protection for people who can pay for that service, those services, and how to mop up retired security personnel to form companies that can provide these close personnel services. So it's a funny thing that you have senior people in government who are contradicting themselves. And that's worrisome. So the IG is telling his border commanders to say, oh, please do your best, but I can't give you men. That's what he's saying. Well, I can't give you men because we have to deploy them. It's so funny.
VIPs.
So sometimes you wonder what these people in government, do they really think through their speeches? Do they really sit down and see whether there's logic in what they are saying? That is, it's worrisome, really.
In a country where we don't have enough policemen to police the entire country, some VIPs cannot have their police attachments withdrawn. Yes, it's a real thing, Nigeria. All right, Joseph, let us talk about the ICPC. Let's talk about huge amounts of money repatriated. This is coming from The Guardian, where the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission has repatriated a sum of $700 million stolen funds and proceeds of corruption concealed in a foreign account. Besides, the commission also disclosed a total sum of 7.3 billion naira recovered from abandoned projects in local government areas in the northwest and northeastern regions of the country. Just looking at these amounts of money.
Wow, okay. So in Nigeria, we know we have a history of recovering funds, stolen funds, and then it is relooted. What's the guarantee that what has been recovered is not going to be stolen again? Because if the system is so porous that allows people to do this kind of things and get away with it, or you get to refund, get the money back. Some cases, they even negotiate how many percent they can give you. Yeah, in some instances, they give you a portion of. So people can steal. Now, you recovered 7.3 billion for abandoned projects. This apparently might be through government agencies and National Assembly members and so on. The question is, how many of the people who are involved have you prosecuted? It would have been a logical conclusion to the discourse to say, we recovered this, and these were people who are responsible, and this is what we are doing to them. You don't just come and tell, oh, we are supposed to clap hands for you for recovering the money, and so on. What happened to those who stole the money? So the idea is that our system has to be deterrent enough to say, if you do this, you get this consequence, so that somebody else will see it to me. Yes, it's punishment to seize what you have stolen, but that's not enough. That is not enough. Now, but in the story, there are other very good indices, and they talk about people becoming more aware, reporting corruption cases in the north, particularly northeast, northwest. People are resisting offering bribes and actually reporting them. And that's a very good thing. And that's what I think ICPC should be doing, sensitizing citizens and also encouraging them that they can be protected. The confidentiality is there and so on. Those are the kind of campaigns they should be launching to encourage citizens to be more proactive in resisting attempts to extort them. So in whatever form. So, but if this is happening, although it's very encouraging, and we should praise that that much. But like I said, it's not just enough to recover money from people who are stolen. There has to be consequences for such crimes, because they are crimes. You cannot commit a crime and go away. You come, you stole something, they come and they take the good from you, and then they will let you walk away.
Maybe you're repentant.
Repentant indeed. No, it's not so. It can't be. You have to pay for it. Go and repent in the prison.
That's my point exactly when we talk about terrorist repentance.
Yes. Yeah, and all that. So we do these things where we just slap people on the wrist and then let them go. And then when people see that, they are encouraged to do worse. So if you come for them, they give you a portion.
Consequences, that is something that we rarely ever see, and I believe it's one of the biggest problems we have as a nation. AB, just a quick word.
No, that last story about the person who was indicted in the US has everything to do with consequences. A former NNPC executive,
yes,
10 years after he took the money, he's waiting to be sentenced to possibly 25 years in prison. Consequences. I tell people that America Wonder is actually not the roads and the tall buildings. It's the rule of law and the way it applies literally to everybody. Not everybody, but almost everybody.
And just
sorry,
just to add to that, AB, one of the things about that story that actually, got me wondering what exactly is going on in the world is the verdict was returned after a 4-day trial in
4-day
August.
trial.
4-day
days.
trial. It didn't drag on. It wasn't something that went on for years. We know of so many cases in Nigeria where
I would add that nobody announced it before. They made the indictment so that I'm sure by the time the defense lawyer saw it, he just said, Ejo Mabino, just reduce the sentencing, because they don't announce we shall, we will. They come with a juicy indictment that is well put together. And at that point, you really have your work cut out to try and defend this. They have the proof, and they ruled him guilty on all counts. A former NMPC executive, $2.1 million. It's unfortunate.
And here we just love to chase our tails with the so-called corruption cases, and you just wonder,
Yes.
is it that difficult to bring a case and see it to the end?
Without making noise first.
Consequences. We need more of that in this country. Let me run through the messages. Jerry says, good morning, I and all. Good morning to you, Jerry. Matters in court, whom against them do not have any matter in court. Oh, sorry, a matter in court, whom again amongst them do not have any matter in court. In fact, a corruption case, that's even worse and gives them no right to even be a senator in the first place. On the IG, so others do not deserve police protection. When he first came, he said he'll withdraw all policemen following so-called VIPs around. That's why we're agitating for a new Nigeria. Tony Marimbit says, a critical look at the activities of some of these transport unions reveals some sort of tyranny against the members and a disadvantage to the Nigerian populace, because the real essence of unionism has been abused, especially in this part of our world. It's a rub-off of what our entire democratic system has turned out to be, where everyone is slave to the man at the top. The Constitution says one thing and practice says another, with deliberate distortions and crazy audacity. Charles Infestac says, before you talk about NUPENG leaders' tenure in office, you need to look into their constitution. Looking at the draconian method adopted by Nigerian leaders, it's natural to accept the posture and outlook of these unions. Without their tough posture, nothing else is left for the Nigerian worker to challenge power wielders in Nigeria. So a NUPENG driver can't paste in peace his union logo on his truck. How about without doing that, he has become a cash cow
to be by choice,
for the police.
not by force.
Is it his truck? Did the
truck.
NUPENG driver buy the 4,000 CNG vehicle?
Buy the truck.
He is a driver. He doesn't have the right to put his emblem on his piece of. It's like me going to my office. I'm putting my village crest on my boss's.
Let him put it on his briefcase.
He can listen. I'll just say this:
or whatever.
47
Nobody
years.
cares.
NUPENG has existed for 47 years. How come they have not bought one truck? What good have they done to themselves? How come NUPENG members do not have 2 trucks, 20 trucks? Please, let's not go there. Let's not be unfortunate this morning.
Rexy Surulere says, Natasha has a point to prove. She needs to prove that legally first. Going back to a place she alleged harassment with her harassed still in charge seems somewhat Stockholm syndrome-ish. Okay. And Uluashe says, all the news stories you tweeted this morning just point to our anyhowness as a people and country. Zero respect for the rule of law, with everyone just doing whatever they like. And we, the people, are powerless to really do anything about it all. We are stuck in an endless, painful, frustrating, and deadly loop because the people with power to do anything about it benefit from the anyhowness. We are cooked. I'm not cooked, Shay. I'm fresh. Stay fresh, not cooked. Let me go to YouTube, some comments here. The Lighthouse says, NUPENG doesn't have trucks. Their stickers are on all trucks loading out of major depots in Nigeria. In fact, for any truck to load out of any depot, there are NUPENG dues one must actually pay. Emeka says, he said the VIPs are employers of labor. We've seen musicians and footballers with police escorts. Are they also employers of labor? Well, I mean, they do business, so they do employ labor at the end of the day. He says, Lionel Messi has his own private security. And Joseph says, so ICPC gets money back. Who are those that abandon the projects? They should be named and prosecuted. This is Nigeria. Those in government get away with things. Corruption is not seen as a crime. All right, we need to run this morning. Thank you all so very much for all the messages and the interaction. Thank you. We love to hear from you every single day. Thank you to the two big men with me on the show this morning, AB and of course Joseph. AB, final words.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate the feedback, input, messages, agreements, disagreements. We're all here to try and make this country better. Let's do our little part every day in every way. God bless you all.
All right, Joseph.
I'll just tell our listeners, thanks a lot for always chipping in, and you make it richer, the dialogue richer. We may disagree, but we should always have to express ourselves. And it's always fun doing this. We want more of these feedbacks. Thanks, Ayo, for making this possible. And Ibi, thanks. It's always good to pair with you. Have a wonderful weekend.
All right. Have a great weekend, gentlemen. And yes, we'll definitely be talking in the DMs. Thank you also once again. All right, Lagos. Thank you all. Let's keep it tuned. Smooth 98.1 and the Smooth Breakfast as well. It's going to be all about sports in the locker room at 8:15. Don't go